So you're thinking about moving to China, but you don't know where to start. Well, once upon a time, that was me too. Every day I'm flooded with DMs from people asking me what life in China is really like. Many people are curious about what this country has to offer, or they might be considering moving here, and like I was a few years ago, feel nervous because they don't know what to expect. Well, spoiler alert, it's not as scary as you might think.
A little bit scared that I'm going to get blown off the cliff.
And in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the ways that if you decide to make the jump, you'll not only survive in China, but thrive in China. Well, first things first, to survive in China as a foreigner, you're going to need a job. There are all kinds of career opportunities available for foreigners, but by far the most popular is teaching English. It's a booming industry, and if you start searching online, you'll find thousands of opportunities from countless schools across the country. Beware though, some schools are more credible than others, so do your research and don't be afraid to reach out to people on social media that already teach there. Once you've found your dream job, then your company will help you to navigate the visa process. And if they don't, red alert. Find a different company. This is a hard process and you're going to need some help. I'm going to try and keep this video short and snappy, but I've made a whole video all about this topic already. Also, if there's anything that you would like me to go more in-depth in, then leave me a comment below. And whilst you're down there, you may as well hit that like button and subscribe to my channel as well. Okay, so fast forward, you've just stepped off the plane and now you're in China. Now this is where things get interesting. Before you've even had your first bite of Beijing duck, you're probably thinking, where the heck am I going to live? Well, if your company is amazing, then they'll probably help you. And if not, don't worry, I've got you covered. There are, of course, traditional real estate agents, and some of these may even speak English. There are also sites like Welchie and Zyroom, and these are pretty foreigner friendly. But in fact, every place that we have found, we've actually found through using WeChat, either from a friend recommending someone or from an accommodation group. WeChat. It really is the best app in China. I can't even begin to explain how much of a lifesaver this app is, but more on that later. Be prepared though, some properties may ask you for 3 months rent up front, plus 1 month's deposit, and also maybe even an agency fee. So if you're going to kickstart your China journey, then make sure you bring some cash with you. So you've found a new apartment, you've moved in, and now you're ready to kit it out. But where do you start? Well, obviously you can head to your friendly local supermarket to pick up a few essentials. But if you're after something a little bit more homely, then many cities actually have an IKEA. Yes, an IKEA! One of the most popular ways is to use Taobao. Taobao is like the Chinese version of Amazon. It's crammed with millions of products, and not just for your home. You can literally find anything on here. Accessing this absolute treasure chest of consumer goodies can be a little bit difficult for foreigners who can't read Chinese. But don't worry, that is where Bauhaus comes in. It's an English version of the site, and their super friendly staff are all too happy to help you speak to the relevant Taobao sellers on your behalf, which is super handy if you need to return something or your package goes missing. Which brings me nicely onto one of my most asked questions about China. Can I buy such and such in China? Well, yes, you can pretty much buy anything you need here for a price. Obviously, local produce is far cheaper, but there are lots of imported stores where you can buy products from home. And as you can see, my cupboards are full of all the essentials. So don't worry, you ain't gonna go hungry here in China. And I haven't even told you about all the amazing local food that you can get here. Check out this video to see all of my recommendations. That being said, I would recommend filling your suitcase with a few essential items, such as sweets, chocolate, and chocolate. And if you don't have any space left for clothes, well, you needn't worry. There are plenty of shops here like H&M, Uniqlo, Zara, so you should be set. Unless of course you're especially tall, wide, or take a larger shoe size, as the sizing here tends to be a little bit on the small side. I would also recommend checking the weather in the city that you're moving to. China is a huge country and the weather is drastically different in the north compared to the south. Speaking of north and south, what is the best way to travel around China? Well, China's infrastructure is pretty great. If you're going far, then taking the high-speed train or a plane would be my preferred method of choice. But if you've got the time to waste, then the sleeper train is an experience in itself. Booking tickets for both trains and planes is actually pretty straightforward. You can use a website called trip.com or 12306.cn. But what about getting around your local area? Well, most cities have subways, buses, and other kinds of public transport to ride on. Here in Beijing, I usually use the subway, which is super cheap and easy. A share bike, which you can use by downloading one of the apps. Or a Didi. Didi works much like Uber and has a fleet of private cars, public taxis, and now even its own share bikes. The app is in English and it's both easy to use and reasonably priced. We have covered a lot of ground so far, so hopefully you're already feeling a little less apprehensive about making the move here. But I realise I've overlooked one of the questions that I'm asked the most, and that is, how does a non-Mandarin speaker survive in China? And it's a great question. Sure, there are an increasing number of English signs, apps, and speakers, but if you want to thrive as opposed to simply survive in China, then you need to learn a little bit of Mandarin. I've recently been using an app called Busuu, who were kind enough to sponsor this video. I'm going to be totally frank. Getting started learning a language is the hardest part, and I should know. After several attempts of trying and failing to learn Mandarin, I've come to the conclusion that my approach has been wrong all along. The reality is, you aren't going to wake up overnight and become the perfect Mandarin speaker. In the past, this has made me a little disheartened, and I gave up trying after a couple of weeks. But recently, my approach to language learning has been a little bit different. Me and Jack have been setting ourselves little goals and trying to hold each other accountable. For me, the number one non-negotiable is spending 20 minutes on Busuu every single day. And this has actually been a lot easier than I thought. Being able to whip out the app whenever I have a spare 5 minutes is super convenient. And the study plan feature keeps me on the straight and narrow. 个油泼面。
油泼面。
油泼面。
对。
2个啤酒。
好的。
有冰的吗？
很冰。
I'm really noticing the difference already, and now I know that my biggest long-term obstacle isn't actually Chinese, but rather myself. 我叫 Nico， 我是英国人，我住在北京，我爱面条和啤酒，干杯！ As a sociable person, I learn well with others, and Busuu is basically a community of learners that constantly give each other feedback.
Hi, Nicola. You can speak very good Chinese. 的中文说得非常好。
谢谢，你英语说得很好。At the end of each unit, I will record or write a sentence in Chinese.
我是英语老师。
And then native Chinese speakers will correct me on my pronunciation. And in return, I will do the same for English learners. I know that many of you live in countries all over the world, so whether you want to master Chinese, English, or any other number of languages, come and join us on Busuu. I've popped the link below. See you there. Learning some basic phrases will help you so much at the beginning of your stay here. And it will help give you the confidence to skip the expat bars and instead get aimlessly lost in the back alleys and markets in the city of your choice. Which, let's face it, is where the real fun is. And over time, you'll build deeper relationships with friends, colleagues, and neighbours, or be able to deal with the constant calls from delivery drivers dropping off packages or tasty food at your door. You see, embracing both Kuaidi and Waimai is a must if you want to fit in here. My Chinese colleagues often make fun of me for actually bothering to get up out of my seat to go grab a drink from the 7-Eleven or some noodles from the local market for my lunch. In their eyes, this is a crazy way to live my life, considering how cheap, common and fast the delivery services are here. And now that I think of it, we're in the middle of winter. The prospect of a pizza, a bubble tea, or even my groceries showing up at my door does seem all the more alluring. Some of the most popular delivery services are Meituan and Ele.me. These are both in Chinese, but even with limited Chinese, you can probably figure them out. But JSS and Sherpas are both in English. So if you want to make doubly sure that you get pepperoni on your pizza instead of durian, then I suggest you use these. The latter having the most variety of Western dishes available, but obviously comes at a higher price tag. Your phone really is your life here, so make sure you've got plenty of space to download all the apps, starting with WeChat. WeChat is basically the Swiss Army knife of phone apps. You can do pretty much anything on WeChat. So if you want to message friends, pay your bills, translate menus, buy tickets, then you need WeChat. One of the things that I just love about living in China is just how convenient life can be here. But there's always going to be an adjustment period before you get into the swing of things. But don't worry, with a little preparation, you're going to be just fine. When I first arrived here, I had no idea what to expect. But over the past 3 years, I've grown an ever deeper respect and appreciation for China's culture, tradition, and customs. Yes, of course, I miss some of my home comforts, but generally life here is pretty good. The people are super friendly and willing to help. I feel safe when I'm walking around on my own, even at night time. And every day here is an adventure. I'm really grateful for how patient and welcoming China has been to me, and also for this amazing community that's continuing to grow around this channel. Don't forget to come and say hi to me on Instagram, and also check out my Patreon for some more behind the scenes content. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then don't forget to share it. Thanks again to Busuu for supporting this video. My Mandarin journey still has a long way to go, but this app makes it a lot more fun to learn. One more point before I go. If all else fails, then drink hot water. It's the answer to all of life's problems here in China. I'll see you next time.